An intrinsic semiconductor is doped differently into two regions. In this region, it is doped with trivalent impurities, so lots of holes are generated. The holes are the majority charge carriers. While there's a few free electrons in the p region, they are the minority charge carriers. They are generated thermally by the external heat energy. In the n region, we dope it with pentavalent impurities that give a lot of free electrons. This free electron randomly drifting in the n region. When there is no external supply, connect across this piece of semiconductor. There are a few holes in the n region too. They're the minority charge carriers. They are generated thermally too. The boundary between the p region and the n region are called p-n junction. The electrical characteristic of the p-n junction is the operation principle of the diodes and transistor. This too will be discussed later and in other units. When a p-n junction is formed, each region is neutrally charged, because in each region there's equal number of protons and electrons. But this situation won't stay long. Almost immediately when the junction is formed, because of the higher density of free electron here, the free electron will diffuse to the p region where the density of the free electron is lower. And this free electron will combine with the holes in the p region. And after diffusion, two layers of charges are formed. You may ask why this side is positively charged and this side is negatively charged. The reason is simple. The free electrons from the n region diffuse to the p region. So end up the p region has more number of electrons than the total number of protons in the p region. So the p region is negatively charged. Then on the other hand, the n region has less number of free electrons now because they shift to the p region. So it will become positively charged in this layer. As the accumulation of more negative charges here, these negative charges will repel further diffusion of the free electrons to the p region. So this layer of negative charge won't go too big. And this layer of negative charge also won't be shifting to this side further. It's because the positive charge and the negative charge just attract each other. So they stay along the p-n junction. Let's recall that in an n-type material, the majority charge carriers are the free electrons. In a p-type material, the majority charge carriers are the holes. When the free electron diffuse from the n region to the p region, they combine with the holes in the p region. And that is why in this layer of negative charges, there are no holes. On the other hand, in this layer of positive charges, there are no electrons because they diffused to the p region. On the whole, this whole region has no majority charge carrier, so we call it a depletion region. It means depletion of the majority charge carrier. The formation of the depletion region will act as a barrier to hinder current of the majority charge carriers. It is because in this depletion region, there are no majority charge carrier, so it is impossible to have current of majority charge carrier flowing through it. But on the other hand, there will have a small amount of current able to go through this depletion region. This small amount of current is carried by the minority charge carriers, such as these few holes and these few free electrons. The red arrow shows the electric field of these two layers of charges. And the potential difference of these two layers of charges will be proportional to the amount of energy required for an electron to move through these electric fields. The potential difference between these two layers are called the barrier potential. For silicon-based PN junction, the barrier potential is equal to 0.7 volt. For germanium, it is 0.3 volt. What is bias? Bias refers to the application of a DC voltage to control current flow. This is the DC voltage talking about. The current flow, of course, the current flowing through the PN junction. There are two types of biasing condition. One is forward bias, one is reverse bias. For forward bias, we connect the positive terminal of the external supply to the P region and the negative terminal of the supply to N region. For reverse bias is reverse, negative to P region, positive to N region. This circuit shows the connection of a forward biased PN junction. The resistor is to protect the current flowing through. The resistor is to limit the current flowing through and protect the PN junction. Let's recall the fact about this depletion region. This is a layer of negative charges. This is a layer of positive charges. The electron will flow from the negative terminal of the supply to neutralize the positive charges. And the negative charges on the other side will flow to the positive terminal of the supply. So in the end, the depletion region narrows. Higher this forward bias voltage, narrower will be this depletion region. But so long as this depletion region exists, the current of the majority charge carriers will be limited, because in this region has no majority charge carrier. That current does increase while the depletion region is narrower, but not increased by a lot. When the biasing voltage, when the forward biasing voltage is larger than 0.7 volt, this depletion region will totally gone. And at that time, this current of the majority charge carrier can flow through the PN junction easily. This shows the connection of a reverse biased PN junction. The electron will flow from the negative terminal of supply to add on to this layer of negative charges. And the free electron in the N region will flow to the positive terminal of the supply. So in the end, this layer of positive charges also increase. So that is to say, the whole depletion region will be widened. And the formation of the depletion region will stop the current of the majority charge carrier. However, we can have a small amount of current can lead through this PN junction, and they are carried by the minority charge carriers. About this biasing voltage, about this reverse biasing voltage, it cannot be too large. If larger than a voltage called breakdown voltage, this PN junction will be damaged permanently.